So come 2008 and 2009, we started to see the rise of the verification companies. So these companies came forward. Some of them have rebranded, some don't exist. Double Verify, Media Trust, those are still the same brands that you see today. These companies enabled us to see where the ads were running when we were buying across exchanges and platforms. So we were able to see if we were running in environments that didn't make sense for the type of media we were buying, if we were not getting what we paid for. This obviously caused a lot of friction, as many people in this room know. There was a lot of issues going back and forth between what was considered an impression that was served as it was bought and sold versus something that was not. There was a lot of bad content that we were noticing, and things started to get a little testy, as we all might remember. 2011, making measurement make sense came along. That was a huge thing. We started talking about viewability, and of course viewability, and then those other three things that making measurement make sense was supposed to address, right? The common currency nomenclatures across different media, and then measuring across device. But we got caught up in viewability. We're still caught up in it. We're still talking about it 4 years later, almost 5 years later, where we still are arguing over issues around the definition of what a viewable impression is. How do we count that? How do we track that? Which vendors can measure, which ones can't? Discrepancies across vendors. Obviously, we've made a ton of progress in this area, as James was talking about earlier, but there still are a lot of issues around that. But this was obviously a big thing for what we were doing. So in terms of the measurement across the ability to see conversions that were not necessarily clicked but viewed, we started questioning how we were getting those. So now we're looking at impressions that are getting credit for a conversion, but that ad may or may not have ever been seen. That ad may have been served inappropriately. It may have been served in bad content, out of geo, some other area that we didn't pay for. But yet we're still giving that ad credit for the conversion thanks to the floodlight tag, which is tracking any conversion that's associated with an ad that was viewed. So that ad does not necessarily, to this day, have to have been viewable to count as a conversion when you look at floodlight tags. And this was part of the issue we were seeing. We were still taking credit for all these ads that may or may not have been seen or served appropriately. And then in terms of branding studies, we noticed that there were potentially issues there too, because we were looking at control groups and exposed groups. How do we know if someone was really exposed? We know that the ad was served to them, they were cookied, but we don't necessarily know if that ad was in view or if that ad was served appropriately in geo. So now we have to track that as well, because if we're not tracking those ads for the exposed group, we're really not measuring the media effectively or accurately. And this came up early this morning. I think Randall brought it up, where as an industry, we've been driving the costs down. We've been focused on efficiency and scale of media, and we've really done a great job of driving those CPMs way down. Thus, the CPAs have been driven down as well. So we're as an industry, very hooked on these low bottom rate CPMs and these CPAs. And that's been a problem because in many cases, we're counting conversions and we're attributing it to ads that were out of scope and may not have been seen. So this is a conversation that agencies are having with clients directly. It's a very important conversation because we want to make sure that when we start to focus on quality, effectively, the CPAs may go up because then you discount all the ads that were not seen or not served appropriately, and then you're able to focus on the ones that were served appropriately, and that, in fact, may drive your CPA up, but it increases the effectiveness and the accuracy of what you're counting. So what we're trying to do is balance out efficiency and scale against quality and effectiveness of media. And it's not easy. It's something that we grapple with every day. We want to achieve high efficiency, high reach, huge audiences, but we also now want to see quality inventory that we're buying. And it's a tough thing to manage, something that we're focused on, but it is a hard thing to get to. So we have a lot of conversations with our clients. I had to put the Ron Burgundy reference in here. We have a lot of conversations with our clients about these issues. Clients are coming to us on a regular basis, asking us what's going on, what's the deal with these bots, this invalid traffic, these new guidelines, all these things going on. Obviously, it's our job as an agency to be able to translate and explain these things to clients, but it is, very perplexing to them that we're dealing with all these issues. So it's something we have to address as well and make sure clients are informed and know what's going on and have all the right information. So how are we handling this? We're looking at different forms of measurement, getting more accurate data. So first thing that we're focused on is doing accurate attribution models. This means looking at all the different touch points across the ad campaigns to make sure that our ads, when they are reaching the right people in the appropriate environments, that we're looking at all the different places that the person was exposed before they converted. Could be an online conversion, could be an offline conversion, but it's important to see all those different places where that person may have potentially been exposed. And while we're doing this, we have to make sure that we're eliminating out-of-scope impressions, whether it's non-viewable, whether it's bad content, bad geo, something like that. It's really, really important to make sure that we're getting the accurately served impressions as part of this attribution model. Otherwise, the data doesn't make a whole lot of sense, it's not accurate, and it's not effective to really optimizing future media. So this is something we're pretty focused on across the board, using using a variety of vendors that weed out the bad impressions before we look at the conversions. Branding studies. So I talked about this a minute ago. When we look at people who were potentially exposed, we need to make sure that they truly were served an appropriate ad, a viewable ad in the correct environment before we count them as exposed and do our analyses and our brand study. This is obviously very important to getting, again, accurate and true data from the results. And then for many of our CPG clients, we're focused on doing closed-loop analyses. So making sure that our ads are, in fact, driving to an in-store purchase. In many cases, our clients, they want to reach certain audiences. They want to make sure their ads are obviously served in the right places, but ultimately they're focused on driving sales. And in many cases, 95, 98% of those sales take place in a brick-and-mortar store, in a retail environment. So we are focused on making sure that we're tracking that data and those impressions to that, to that retail outlet to make sure that that media is in fact the driver of what that person is purchasing. And in doing such, we have to make sure to eliminate all of the bad impressions. So we're doing these advanced types of analyses and research, but all through it, we're making sure that you have to eliminate anything that is considered non-viewable, served inappropriately, and served out of scope. Otherwise, the data is completely skewed, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense to focus on. Another place we're focused is building out a private marketplace. We have what we call our Magna Foundational Marketplace, our MFM that we call it internally. And this is a great way of achieving scale and reach, but in an efficient way and with premium quality content, reaching good quality inventory. So this is sort of that bridge, and I think most agencies are doing something similar. This is that bridge between when you're trying to balance out scale and efficiency with media effectiveness and quality of inventory. It's a place where you can get high reach, large scale, but still make sure that your ads are being served appropriately in healthy and quality environments. And then what we notice is high rates of viewable impressions, low rates of fraud and bots, better effective media, driving in-store purchase, whatever the KPIs are. This is a place where we're focused and we're seeing good results for our clients in many cases.